Welcome to the Conversations with Cacao podcast. This is a podcast for those who are seekers, explorers, who want to know more about consciousness and cacao. For those who have been working with cacao and might be newer to cacao and just want to hear more stories, more information, and more wisdom. And it is my hope that this podcast begins to nourish your roots, awaken your heart, so that you can embody your magic. I am your host, Alexandra Gabrielle, and I welcome you into this space. I myself have been working with ceremonial cacao for over 5 years now. I've partaken in multiple cacao facilitator courses. I have had a daily practice with cacao since the first time that I was had an experience with this sacred medicine in a fire ceremony. And at that moment, it just opened my heart, my everything to being like, whoa, what's in my cup? What is this? I need to know more. And since then, I have just been down the rabbit hole about finding out more about cacao, finding out the health benefits, the spiritual benefits, practicing and learning from the elders, the wisdom keepers of this traditional medicine, and those who have their own connection to cacao. And it became very clear to me that I wanted to source the cacao that I drink from the brands that really are in integrity with their heart, with the earth, and with the farmers and the places where they grow the cacao. So I started on my own mission to research and to do the behind the scenes work of finding those brands that really honor the land and that really honor and understand the spirit of cacao, or at least listen to the spirit. And through that, I have found so many amazing people. And I wanted to open up the conversation to see what was really here. What wants to happen? What does cacao want to say? And also, what is the magic that these people are sharing? So, a couple of years later, here we are. After Conversations with Cacao started about 2 years ago, there was a call to start a podcast. And it was suggested by friends of mine, by peers, saying we want a space to hear more stories, more rituals, more information. And I was like, yep, all right, let's do it. So, flash forward to today, our first little mini episode, our little introduction to what this podcast actually is. And I wanted to give you a little bit of a flavor before we actually dive into the season. So, tomorrow we're releasing our first sneak preview episode, and it's going to be the full length episode with an amazing, beautiful human being. And I hope you check that out because there's so much wisdom and so much knowledge in that conversation. And I think it'll give you a little bit of a flavor of the season to come. We have over 30 guests on our podcast this season, a beautiful lineup, and it's really exciting. All of the conversations and places we journey to within these conversations. And my intention behind this podcast was really to allow a space for deep listening because we do so much consuming in our day to day life, from what we eat, from what we listen to, from what we see, from all of the thoughts that we have. But I wanted to make this space really intentional with the energy, with the words that we speak, with the guests that I invite, so that we can begin to have a co creative experience, that we listen to what really wants to be shared, and we practice listening from the heart, because that's where we begin to receive information, receive insights, impulses. So each episode starts with a little centering meditation, inviting you to drop from the mind into the heart, connecting in with your own essence, with your own self. And then we move on to a blessing of cacao. So I invite you to join every call if you feel called to, if it feels supportive for you, with a cup of cacao or a cup of tea. And that way you begin to actually vibrate at the frequency of cacao, and maybe she or they guide you in a way that really feels new and fun. And who knows, there's so much room for play and exploration there. And then we flow into the conversation. And after the conversation's over, we close the space and allow for time for integration. And integration is so important. It's so important and so overlooked. And this is the part where we really take the time to absorb. We consciously absorb before we move into the next phase of our day, into the next thought cycle, into whatever we're moving into. Really taking the time to consciously reflect and feel, notice what shifted. What do I want to take with me from this podcast and begin to seed and plant in my life and tend to? So I offer this opportunity for deeper listening, for deeper self exploration, and for deeper exploration within conversation. How are you showing up in conversation? And maybe that even lends itself to your day to day interactions, allowing that practice of presence to guide you through that heart listening. And if it resonates with you, I am so thrilled and I welcome you into the space. And I look forward to hearing from you and possibly co creating with you in the future. And if it doesn't resonate with you, I send you so many blessings. And I hope that there is another podcast out there that can do what you are looking for. So this is a little understanding, a little how-to guide of our podcast. And I just invite you to enjoy, to have fun, to explore. And I forgot to mention, there are these beautiful panels that we're going to hold. We're going to hold these monthly panels of the guest that was on that month. So if there were 3 guests that month, most likely all 3 guests will be on a panel call and you'll have the opportunity to join this live Q&A. If you have any questions or that you really want to ask this guest, like I know so many times I listen to podcasts and I'm like, oh man, if I could just get in the room with them, like I have so many questions for them. And this gives you the opportunity to really begin to interface in a very personal level with the people that you're listening to. And if you have questions, if you have inspiration that's flowing through you, or if you just want to receive in that moment, I wanted to create that space. And a lot of our guests are very excited for that panel. And another thing, for those of you who are interested, we are offering membership subscription boxes for Cacao. So that is a monthly subscription box where you can sign up for it. And at the beginning of the month, we will mail you your cacao. And it's going to be the cacao that is connected to the guest of that month. So we have a few beautiful cacao brands that we've interviewed, ambassadors from those cacao brands. And I would love to provide the opportunity to share their cacao with you so that when you're listening to their conversation, you have their cacao in your cup. And it just adds another layer, another sensory layer, another heart layer of connection, of understanding, of compassion, and feeling their unique magic moving through that cacao and connecting with you. So if you're interested in that, please check out our website at conversationswithcacao.com. This is all so exciting for us. I am very excited myself, and I look forward to what comes of this. We will see. So I believe that is all I have to share for this first little intro. I just wanted to hop on here on this call today, especially on this day. I love to work with the Mayan cosmology. It really speaks to me. It really vibrates my essence, like at a soul level, when something just feels good. So I've been following the Mayan Chalkich calendar, which is the lunar calendar. And there are 20 energies of the day. And today is the energy of Oshlahuch Bats, and that is 13 Bats, the manifestation of 13 Bats. And it is special for me. First of all, it's just a beautiful energy all around. It's the weaver, the creative one. The monkey is also connected to cacao. And there's fun stories that I will share about cacao in future episodes. But it is also connected to the weaving of our reality and the creativity. And the 13 connected to the ancestral wisdom, to the future wisdom and the past and all of the dimensional spaces in between. So it feels like a pretty big energy. And then for me personally, my energy is 5 Akabal and my destiny is 13 bats. So in the Mayan cosmology, each person is born with a dominant energy and they have a cross showing their past, showing their future. This is just a very, very short introduction. There's so much wisdom to be covered by it, and I am not an expert. I just wanted to share this personal part because I had the conversation that I'm sharing tomorrow that we recorded at the beginning of this 13-day period in the Mayan cosmology. So it felt very, very auspicious and synchronistic to then share the first preview episode on the last day of this Trisana and beginning the full episode tomorrow on the first day of the new Trisana. So thank you so much for listening to that little aspect too. For those of you who are interested in the Mayan cosmology, that might have been a fun fact for you. And yes, I look forward to conversations with Cacao, the podcast, the everything that's going to come this year because there's a lot more coming. And I just want to beam you my love, beam you my gratitude. And as we close our time together, even though it was short and sweet, taking a deep breath into our heart, exhaling all around us as we feel ourselves grounding back down to the earth and rooting up towards the heart of the sky, feeling ourself as the bridge, our body as the bridge, our consciousness as the bridge to this world that we live in. And just for one moment, maybe you connect in with that essence of magic and that essence of magic inside of you, the magic that you are, and allowing just for a moment your magic to shine a little bit brighter, or maybe a whole lot brighter, depending on where you are. And feeling yourself connected to yourself, your beauty, your magic. And from this space of deep gratitude, deep love and appreciation, I give so much thanks to you, the current listeners, the past listeners, and the future listeners. May we all come together and weave this beautiful web of light, of love, of compassion, of inspired divine action, and come together and begin to weave the earth we've always wanted to live in. Thanking Mama Cacao, thanking the energy of Cacao, the spirit of Cacao, for guiding us here today, because we wouldn't be having this conversation without Cacao. Thanking the plants, and specifically this plant, for all that it's done for us and this planet. And so it is. And knowing that it is done, it is done, it is done, and it is fun, it is fun, it is fun. Aho. So stay tuned for future episodes of Conversations with Cacao. Our new season and our first season will be released at the end of December. If you'd like to stay posted on updates and when the actual release date will be, join our mailing list so that you receive our newsletter with all of our current happenings, our bi-weekly virtual circles, our in-person events, our courses, and everything else magical that's happening around Conversations with Cacao. Thank you so much for listening. Have a beautiful day still.